everyone, welcome to TryRide. This is Pack 365, myself Srija. So today in this session you are going to learn about anatomy and physiology of genitourinary system. So in this session you will be able to know about what are the parts under genitourinary system. So how many systems are covered under these major system, okay? So introduction to genitourinary system. So what is genitourinary system? It is also called as urogenital system. So this system, it is made up of two major systems, urinary system and reproductive system. So these two systems are closely connected because they develop from the similar tissues during early growth, that is embryology. So they lie close together in the body. So some structures share common passageways, especially in the males. Now, why is this system important? So together, the genitourinary system helps the body with two major jobs. So what are those? The first one is maintaining body homeostasis. So it keeps the internal environment stable by removing the harmful waste from the body, balancing the water and also electrolytes like sodium and potassium. It also controls the blood pressure and it also maintains the acid-base balance of the body. So the second job is reproduction. So it ensures the ability to reproduce by producing reproductive cells like sperm or eggs, releasing the sex hormones like testosterone and estrogen, and also supporting pregnancy and childbirth in females. So under urinary system, the first system is urinary system, right? So under urinary system, so what are the organs involved? So the urinary system, it includes kidneys, ureters, urinary bladder, urethra. So what are the main functions of kidneys? It filters the blood, it removes the waste products like urea, creatinine and drugs and toxins. So this forms the urine. So kidneys produces the urine, so ureters carry the urine and next the bladder stores it and then urethra releases it to out of the body. So kidneys, they also controls the blood pressure through a chemical called as renin. And this urinary system, it helps in the red blood cell production. So by releasing the erythropoietin, it signals the bone marrow to make the red blood cells. So it also maintains the acid-base balance. How it maintains? By controlling the hydrogen ions and also the bicarbonate levels. So this is about the urinary system. So next, coming to reproductive system, it is different in both males and females, right? So what are the main functions of this reproductive system? The first is sexual function. It helps in the sexual maturity and also intercourse. It also helps in production of gametes. In males, it produces the sperm. In females, it produces the ova, or also called as eggs. And also it plays a role in hormone secretion. So in males, it produces testosterone and in females, it produces the estrogen and progesterone. So it also helps in pregnancy and childbirth in the females. So it supports the growth and also delivery of a baby. So this is the introduction to the genitourinary system. So coming to next slide. So what are the shared development and common pathways in these both systems? So during early development, during the embryology, so both the urinary and reproductive systems, they originate from the same tissue. So which is called as the intermediate mesoderm. So because of this shared origin, some structures are combined or closely linked. So especially in males, the urethra serves both like urine function, which plays a role in urine passage, and also as a reproductive function which plays a role in semen passage. So this explains why the systems are often studied together as a urogenital system. So now, why the genitourinary system is important? Why such more important in the human body? Because it performs several vital functions. What are those? The first one is excretion and detoxification. So this is mainly the job of the urinary system. So the kidneys, they filter the waste products from the blood and removes the harmful substances like urea, creatinine, drugs and toxins. So this waste are removed from the body as urine. So the kidneys act like the body's natural purification plant, keeping the blood clean. So this is a urinary system diagram. So you can find the kidneys, ureter, urethra, bladder, and also the aorta, inferior vena cava. So this is a female reproductive system. which shows you the vagina, uterus, fallopian tube, uterine tube, cervix. This is the ovary, and this is the male reproductive system. Urinary bladder, you can see in the male reproductive system. You can see the penis, epididymis, testis, scrotum. This is the prostate gland. This is the anal canal, rectum canal, and also the seminal vesicle where the semen is produced. So what is the third function? What is the second function? Regulation of the body fluids and electrolytes. So this system, it helps to maintain the correct balance of water, sodium, potassium, chloride, acid-base levels. So this keeps the cells hydrated and functioning normally. So what is the third function? Hormonal regulation. So the kidneys, they release the hormones such as renin, which controls blood pressure. It releases the erythropoietin, also called as EPO in shortcut, and this stimulates the red blood cell production, and the calcitrol, which is also called as active vitamin D. This helps to maintain the calcium levels. So the reproductive organs also release the hormones like testosterone, estrogen, progesterone. So these hormones influences the sexual development, body changes, metabolism, and also the fertility. So what is the fourth function? Reproductive processes and continuation of the species. So this reproductive system, it ensures the ability to produce the offspring. So in males, it produces the sperm in testes, and in females, it produces the ova in ovaries. So fertilization, they leads to pregnancy. In female reproductive system, it supports the fetal development and also the childbirth. So without this system, species would not be able to continue from generation to generation. So now what is the integration of both the systems? Because the excretory, which is also called as urinary system, and the reproductive system, both are connected, like they work together to maintain the internal balance, which is also called as homeostasis, and they ensure the survival by maintaining the body function and also the continuity by reproduction. So this makes the genitourinary system a key system for the life. So now let's discuss about each and every system briefly. So the first system is urinary system. So what is the urinary system? It is also called as the renal system. So it helps to maintain the body's internal chemical balance. It does this by removing waste, controlling water levels, and keeping the right amount of salts and also the chemicals in the body. So think of it as a body's cleaning and balancing system. So what is the primary role of the urinary system? So the main function is the formation, storage, and also the elimination of urine. So what is the formation? What does form in the kidneys? So the blood is filtered in the kidneys, the waste is removed, and also the urine is produced. So storage takes place in the bladder. So the bladder stores the urine until the body is ready to release it. So next is elimination, which takes place through the urethra. So urine passes out of the body, removing the excess water, salts or electrolytes, metabolic waste products like urea from protein metabolism, uric acid from nucleic acid metabolism, creatinine from muscle activity. So the urine system, it behaves like a water waste control machine. So what are the organs of the urinary system? Kidneys, which filter blood and produce urine. Ureters, these are the tubes that carry urine from kidneys to bladder. Urinary bladder, it stores the urine. Urethra, it releases the urine out of the body. So now, what is the importance of the kidneys? So why are kidneys play a major role in the mechanism of urinary system? Because these are the most important organs in the system. They filter about 180 liters of blood every day. So this fluid is not at all urine. Most of it is reabsorbed back into the body. So only 1-2 liters come out as a urine. So why do kidneys regulate blood composition, water balance, electrolytes like sodium, potassium, acid-base balance, blood pressure by renin release, and also RBC cells production by erythropoietin release? So simply the kidneys act like super filters, also like chemical regulators for the entire body. So here there is a picture for the urinary system. So this is the section of the kidney which shows the renal cortex, renal pyramids, pelvis of the kidney, and also here you can see the ureter, urethra, the bladder and inferior vena cava, descending aorta and renal arteries and also the renal veins. So, maintaining electrolyte balance, acid-base balance and also blood pressure. So, the urinary system, especially the kidneys, they helps to maintain the electrolyte balance. So, it keeps the right amount of sodium, potassium, chloride, calcium and the other ions. So, these electrolytes, they are essential for the muscle function, nerve signals and also the hydration. So it maintains the acid-base balance, nothing but the pH control. So the kidneys, they remove the extra acids or bases to keep the blood pH around 7.35 to 7.45. So if this balance is disturbed, the whole body is affected. So now what is the blood pressure control? The kidneys uses the renin-angiotensin system to raise or lower the blood pressure. So simple example, if the blood pressure drops, what happens? The kidney releases the renin. So this blood vessels, they get tightened and the BP increases. So this is how the blood pressure mechanism works. So the other function is endocrine or hormonal function of the kidney. So the kidneys are not just the filters, they also act like the hormone producing glands because they have erythropoietin and calcitriol, active form of calcitriol. So what does this erythropoietin do? This hormone, it stimulates the bone marrow to make the red blood cells. So if kidneys fail, there will be a less erythropoietin levels due to this anemia occurs. So what role calcitriol plays? It is also called as the active form of vitamin D. So this helps to absorb calcium from the intestine. So it is more important for bone health and also the muscle function. So kidneys activate vitamin D. Without them, bones became weak. So what are the overall roles of the urinary system? So waste removal. So it removes the urea, creatinine, uric acid, drugs and toxins. Regulation of water and electrolytes. It prevents the dehydration or the fluid overload. Maintaining blood pH. So this prevents the body from becoming too acidic or alkaline. Controlling blood pressure through the renin-angiotensin system. So it also supports the red blood cell production by releasing the erythropoietin hormone and also maintaining overall homeostasis. So all the functions combined help keep the internal environment stable. So what is a simple explanation of homeostasis? So homeostasis is nothing but it means keeping the body's internal environment stable even when outside conditions change. So for example, if you drink too much water, kidneys remove extra fluid. So if you are dehydrated, kidneys conserve water. So the urinary system, it acts like a body's internal balance manager. So why is the urinary system essential for life? Because it cleans the blood, it regulates the chemicals, it maintains the pH, it controls the blood pressure, it supports the RBC production, it manages the water balance. Without these functions, the body cannot survive. So this is how the urinary system works. So coming to anatomy of urinary system. So the urinary system, you all know, it consists of four major components. What are those? Kidneys, ureters, urinary bladder, urethra. So what is the main role of urinary system? To filter blood, to remove the waste, form urine and keeps the body's internal environment stable. Nothing but homeostasis. So coming to the first part of urinary system, kidneys. So I already said you that kidneys are most important organs of the urinary system. So what is the shape of the kidneys? They are bean shaped. So where these kidneys are located? They are found behind the abdominal cavity. So this area is called as retroperitoneal space. So these kidneys, they sit on the posterior abdominal wall, one on each side of the spine. So what is the size of kidneys? In adults, the length is 11 to 12 centimeter long, width is 5 to 7 centimeter wide, thickness is 2.5 centimeter thick, and the weight is, it weighs around 120 to 170 grams in the adults. So you can compare their size to a bar of soap for easy understanding. So what is the function of kidneys? They are responsible for filtration of blood, maintaining water and electrolyte balance, removing waste and regulating the blood pressure, and also producing hormones like EPO and calcitriol. So now let me discuss about the location and position of kidneys. So where is the position of the kidneys in the body? Kidneys lie on the either side of the vertebral column, nothing but spine. So they extend from the level of thoracic 12 part to lumbar third vertebrae. So they are protected by the lower lips. So why is the right kidney lower? Because the right kidney is slightly lower because the liver sits above it and pushes it down. So kidneys are also called as two guards which are sitting behind the abdominal organs protecting and cleaning the blood. So why are kidneys called as retroperitoneal organs? Because they lie behind the peritoneum. So the membrane, what is peritoneum? It's a membrane lining the abdominal cavity. So because of this position, they are well protected, not easily affected by the movements of the stomach or intestines. So now what are the protecting covers of the kidneys? So each kidney, they are protected by the renal capsule, perirenal fat, renal fascia and also the pararenal fat. So left kidney is slightly higher and more medial, which is more closer to the midline. So the right kidney is slightly lower because the liver pushes it down. So what are the posterior relations of the kidney? The structures behind the kidneys. So both the kidneys, they lie on diaphragm, which helps in breathing, psoas major, which is the muscle important for hip flexion, and quadratus lumborum. It helps with the bending the trunk, and transversus abdominis muscles. So these are the deep abdominal muscle. And also there are subcostal vessels and nerve T12. This pass behind the kidney. And ribs like 11th and 12th ribs, they are present in the left kidney and 12th rib. This is why the left kidney is slightly more protected because of this 12th rib which is present on the right kidney. So these are about the posterior relations. So what are the anterior relations to these kidneys? So which the structures are which are in front of each kidney are called as the anterior parts. So the the right kidney is related to the liver, duodenum, which is the first part of small intestine, and also the ascending colon. Whereas left kidney is related to stomach, spleen, pancreas, jejunum, and descending colon. So why it is important? Because inflammation or enlargement of these organs, they can affect the kidney and also vice versa. So what are the external features of the kidney? So you have learnt about the structure and shape of the kidney and where it is located. So next, coming to external features of the kidney. So what are the external features of the kidney? So kidney has two surfaces and two borders. So what are the two surfaces? Anterior surface and posterior surface. So anterior surface, it is irregular because abdominal organs press against it. Whereas in posterior surface, it is smooth because it lies on the muscles. And you have two borders, which is a lateral border, nothing but it is convex. It is rounded outward. And medial border, it is curving inward, which is concave. So this contains the ileum. Ileum is nothing but it's a gateway where the structures enter and exit. So structures like renal artery, renal vein, and also the ureter. So here is a picture in this slide. So this is a longitudinal section of the kidney showing that what it looks like when it is cut and open. So you can see the fibrous capsule. It is a thin protecting cover around the kidney, and the cortex, which is the outer layer, and you can see this medulla. It is the inner part of the layer. It is formed by the renal pyramids, which are triangular structures. So each pyramid drains urine into renal papillae at the tip. So there are calcices. So the minor calcices, they collect urine from the papillae, and the major calcices, they are formed when minor calcices join together. So they funnel urine into renal pelvis. So you can also find it here renal pelvis. So renal pelvis, it's a wide funnel shaped area that narrows into the ureter, and the blood supply, which is blue in color, these are the veins, and which is red in color, these are the arteries. So you can find this renal artery here, which enters the kidney at the ileum part. It branches into again interlobular arteries between the pyramids, and arcuate arteries, the arch over the pyramids, and interlobular arteries which go into cortex. And you can find the renal vein over here, which is blue in color. So it collects blood from the interlobular veins arcuate veins, and interlobar veins. So this leaves kidney at the ileum. So this is all about this diagram. So next coming to poles of the kidney. So there are two poles of the kidney. So each kidney has the upper pole and the lower pole. So what is about upper pole? This is located towards the head. So this is capped by the suprarenal gland, which is also called as the adrenal gland. So this gland, it's like a hat on top of the kidney. So this is important for stress hormones, which are called as the cortisol and adrenaline, and also salt balance like aldosterone. So what is the lower pole, where it is located? So this is more lateral, which is further from the midline, and this is not in contact with any gland like the upper pole. So these are slightly border and located lower due to the body shape. And then next is ileum of the kidney. So ileum is called as the gateway of the kidney. So this is located on the medial border, which is the inward curving side of the kidney. So what are the structures entering and leaving the ileum front to back? So anterior to posterior order. So renal vein, which is the most anterior, renal artery, and then renal pelvis or ureter, which is the most posterior. So next coming to coverings of the kidney. So what are the coverings? So kidney has layers covering it for protection. So they go from inside to outside like an onion. So what is the first covering? Renal or fibrous capsule. So this is the first and innermost layer. It is a thin but very tough connective tissue sheet. It directly stuck to the kidney surface. So what is the function of renal capsule? It protects the kidney from infection spreading from outside, and also it maintains the kidney shape. So the second covering is perirenal or perinephric fat. So this is the fat layer which is surrounding the renal capsule. So it acts like a cushion to absorb shock and protect the kidney from the physical injury. So this is important because kidneys are retroperitoneal and they are not surrounded by the muscles. So the next layer is renal fascia, which is also called as the gyrotous fascia. So this is the tough connective tissue layer that forms a protective envelope around the kidney. So you have to think this as a fascia like a strong bag that tightly wraps around the kidney and the adrenal gland. So what are the functions of the renal fascia? It encloses kidney and the adrenal gland, but both are the organs which sit together inside this fascia. So it keeps them in the correct anatomical position. It also anchors the kidney to the abdominal wall, like it prevents the kidney from drooping or moving excessively. So fascia has both anterior and posterior layers that merge to form a closed compartment. So it is important clinically because this fascia, it can limit the spread of infections or bleeding around the kidney. And the fourth layer is pararenal or paranephric fat. So this is the outermost layer of the fat which is surrounding the body. So if the kidney coverings were layers of an onion, so this is the outermost layer. So it provides cushioning. It acts like a soft cushion or shock absorber. So it protects the kidney from trauma like falls, accidents, or also the sudden movements. So it fills a space around the kidney, like it helps to stabilize the position of the kidney within the abdominal cavity. So this pararenal fat, it is located outside the renal fascia. So it is more abundant on the posterior lateral side, like both back and side of the kidney. So what is a major role? It also helps to maintain the body temperature around the kidney. So in the before slide, you can see this picture of the coverings of the kidney. So this diagram shows a cross section, that is a transverse section of the body where the kidney lies. So the yellow color one is the kidney, which is the main organ, and the blue color one, which is the renal capsule, the protective tough inner covering, and green is perirenal fat, which is a shock absorber, and the red color one is its renal fascia, which anchors the kidney in the place. And here you can find this purple color one, the purple structure, which is called as the pararenal fat, which is the outer protective fat. So this is about the coverings of the kidney. So this is for today's session. I hope this session has helped you. So in the next session, you will be able to learn about the internal structures of the kidney and also about the ureters, urinary bladder and urethra. Thank you.